Okay guys, I apologize for the crappy audio that's going to be in this video for this clip. That just kind of how it's going to be. I already made like the video and I've been working with a few mics. Finally got a mic I like. It's the Blue Yeti X. And then I had to do real-time process priority, CPU affinity, make sure it's away from my real-time KVM cores. And create some system daemons. So it's been kind of a pain, but I think I finally got it. And then I have to play with like easy effects and noise cancellation because I got like a lot of background noise. I got an AC, few servers over there, server right here, and this bird, he's the worst. He get real loud, especially whenever I'm talking. So anyway, let's get started. Here's the tutorial. So let's go ahead and take a look at Discourse. This is the tutorial I'm going to be going through. So my goal here is to help y'all out. There is some stuff missing in the source-based tutorial, actually quite a bit, which leaves people with some questions. So I'm going to try to fill in those missing blanks while we're following the source-based material. What is Discourse? Discourse is pretty much like a top-of-the-line form software that is free. It works really good. It looks very modern. And it's extremely fast. Now, everything is packaged in Docker, which does have some benefits, but I actually don't like Docker that much, just for the fact is I would like it to be more direct install in the system using like Nginx, PHP, FPM, and say Redis and all that yourself. But this is good. Docker is good. It's good. I mean, it's good when it comes to something like this, when you just want to throw it on your machine and get it done real quick. Otherwise, no, it's not. But it does save time. So, first, let me show you a few sites. So I'm sure you all know Wendell. So if we go over to Level 1 Techs, his site is running off of this same software, which is Discourse. As you can see, it looks very modern. Everything Wendell does is extremely professional, and he's one of the best well-known in the industry, especially when it comes to Linux, reviewing hardware. He's one of the guys that are actually entertaining that does like the enterprise class hardware reviews. He's really cool to watch. I love watching him. I think he's like my favorite reviewer. And then I like watch Linus. He's more entertainment though, but this guy's really good. And then of course I'll show you my site here. So this is mine. This is my Discourse-based form. As you can see, it looks really nice. It already comes with the sign in with Google. Which is just an authentication add-on, and it authenticates their account, I think, using OAuth. I can't remember what the method is. I think it's OAuth. But yeah, so that's Discourse. There's a lot of other websites that use it too. So it's really good, especially if you're trying to start a community and get things moving. So if you want to go ahead and get Discourse running, I'm going to go ahead and show you. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do it now. So if you want to go ahead and get Discourse running, let's go ahead and get started. Now, the things we're going to be starting on is we're not going to be going directly over the source-based guide. We're going to get some stuff that, well, I guess was kind of left out for the most part. So let me go ahead and open up a terminal. SSH into my VM. Okay, I'm in. We're going to need a few applications, and you're going to make sure you need to adjust your repository. So I'm going to cat mine so you can see real quick. So if you look at my repository, I am running on Sid main contrib non-free. Now the reason I run on Sid is because it's a rolling release distro. It's pure bleeding edge. Now I know they'll say it's not stable and stuff, but in most cases it is. It's just when the developers release their latest version, it's stable to them for the most part, or in stable version. But sometimes one of the there might be a little change for the specific distro or tailored to that distro that they miss. So that's why they usually call it unstable. But usually, if you have any little kinks or anything, you can work it out. But you're going to need this just in case, you want like the latest and greatest without adding a whole bunch of custom repositories or building from source. If you want to save time, this is a great way to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Make sure you have this repository. So yeah, let's get on to installing the packages. Okay, so today I'm going to go ahead and show y'all how to do a Discourse-based community form setup. I don't know if y'all know about Level 1 Techs. window. His forms are based on Discourse. Discourse is great. In fact, I think they're probably like the best, in my opinion, the best or one of the best form softwares you can get. That's my bird. She likes to talk a lot. She'll usually get in the window and just say, "I love me, I love me." I take her to work with me. I take her like everywhere with me. She's really smart. Anyway, so yeah, Discourse is great. One downside is use a Docker. So the one thing I don't like Docker is if you're using a good kernel, you gotta add a lot of extra kernel options, and it's not as direct. But the other nice thing about it is you just install it and you're good to go, and you don't have to spend hours or days configuring everything. You're good. So that's the upside to it. See, I love me. I love you, birdie, or I love you, baby. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's get started. So the first thing we're gonna go ahead and do here is go ahead and switch over my monitor. I'm gonna leave the majority of this uncut. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and. So I went ahead and the first thing we're going to go ahead and do here is I'm going to go ahead and pull up my version. Okay, I'm in the VM. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to download some packages. But first, let me go ahead and open up the Discourse installation guide. And I'm going to take you to the source-based installation instructions. Now they do leave quite a few things out, which I'm going to be covering here, so y'all can get it installed easier. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the beginner install guide. We're going to need this page, and we're going to need another one. Okay, here we go. Found it. Okay, so you're going to want these two tabs open, or go to them whenever. Now the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to install the packages we need. So I'm going to do app install Discourse. Oh, I forgot. I didn't tell y'all. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to show y'all the repository set on for Debian. So nano etc app sources.list. As you can see, I'm running Sid, so this is Bleeding Edge. Bleeding Edge is okay to use. It's for the most part stable. It's just sometimes the developers, somebody might get left out that's tailored to that distro, but that's kind of stuff we got to watch out for the rolling release repositories on certain distributions. So make sure you have your repository set. I would go with the rolling release, but y'all can do whatever. Keep in mind the packages that you're going to install, they might be named a little bit different than what I'm going to type here, because this is just going to be a tutorial pretty much for all distros. Okay, so let's get started here. I'm not going to be on camera today. Kind of woke up, been working on a drive Viber project and some website and some other server stuff for some other people. So, look like crap. Everyone looks like crap. I can't see me today. Sorry. Anyway, so, yeah, I don't know if y'all can tell my audio quality sounds better. I got a Blue X microphone, and I'm not an audio guy. Yeah, I'm not an audio guy, so I'm still learning how to tune the audio and stuff. One thing I did figure out though, you'd be surprised how much quality you get from running audio services like Pipewire and OBS and Easy Effects for real-time process priority. It makes all the difference in the world, not just in the delay, but in the actual quality of the audio. It helps a lot. I was actually really surprised. Anyway, so let's get on here to the package installation. I'm going to try to go through this quick. I've already had to restart my video 3 times because these little errors I found out I made. It was going to make me go crazy. So it's the 3rd time I'm making this video for y'all. I was trying not to clip it at all. But then I was like, oh, I'm using a title for something that doesn't even belong to this video. I have to redo it. So, yeah, you know how it goes. Okay, so let's go ahead and get ready to installing the packages. So install docker.io. Now keep in mind, depending on your distribution and your repository version, It might not be Docker. It's probably going to be Docker. Might be Docker D. Might be this. Might be that. But for the repository Sid, that's a rolling release repository under Debian, it's docker.io. And then you're going to want to do container D, and then we're also going to want to install Certbot. So apt install docker.io container D Certbot, and we're going to go ahead and enter here. And yes. So yeah, you'll see the little sound bars jumping at the bottom. I just put that. I thought it looked cool, but as you can see, they're jumping. And I'm not talking. I have an air conditioner behind me, and I have a loud server. Actually, a few loud servers. And I have a bird. The bird overrides all of them, and it actually is really good at filtering the noise. But you can see sometimes little bars jump because I guess picking up stuff in the background. Okay, so that's installed. Now let's go ahead and haul this over to the Nginx repository, or Nginx, however you say it. So Nginx repository. Yeah. See if it picks it down. Let's see. I just kind of anxious. See how I got it. I got it. Anyway, we're on the repository list here. You just go for your distribution. This is going to be like for any distribution. I'm going to try to cover all the common sense stuff. You know, it's kind of weird. I remember when I was first learning a lot of this stuff. You know, it started. I didn't even know what I was looking at, and it's like weird because you like understand it just by playing with it more and more. But when you're making tutorials, it's weird. I'm trying to cover it from like a common sense angle. Just because, you know, I don't know what y'all know. Y'all know like 10 times more than me, or you don't have a piece of dirt in your brain. You know, I'm trying to feed you a baby bottle of cyanide, and I mean, I don't know. So, I mean, hopefully I'm not doing that. But you know what I'm saying. So you just go over here and you copy and paste. You know, it's the copy and paste game. You just copy, paste, and keep going down. And then you gotta watch out because you get thrown a curveball down here. Keep copying and pasting like real quick, you know? Like all these items right here. And you get a curveball. And it comes right here. So this is the stable. And this is the main line. So, yeah. So we want the main line because we like bleeding edge tech. Even if it has a bug or two, we can usually work that out. As long as all hell doesn't break loose when we press enter. So, all hell didn't break loose that time, so it rips. So then you just keep copying and pasting. And before you even run app update, I notice sometimes what happens here is that I'll do the lsb release command and put that. It'll actually put this once in a while. It's probably actually not selected, but I see this happen a lot. Where I actually put the command and it doesn't actually put the repository version, which mine is Sid, so we can't even use Sid anyway. So we're gonna have to change this. So nano etc app sources.list and then Nginx. Make this bigger. See, okay, I got it that time. So Sid right here. We're gonna put the newest release that most people use that's stable, which would be Bullseye, because that's how they have their repository set up. So this will give you the newest versions for them. Bullseye. Now we're going to do app update. I'm not going to type app upgrade, because if I do, it's going to make me do a kernel update. It's going to start bugging me about restarting. Okay, so we got that. We have Nginx installed. And then, this one's for Ubuntu. That's yes. So we got that part done. And we did the Certbot. I think we're gonna need another thing for Certbot. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Put in here. Search Certbot. You get a lot more stuff in the screen with that too. So yeah, let's search Certbot. I know we installed Certbot, but I think we need one more. Yeah, I want this one. The Python 3 Certbot for Nginx. So we want this one too right here. Because this one plays nice with port 80, so we don't have to like stop the Nginx server or do the web root one. So apt install. Yeah. Yep. Okay, and we're good. We're good. So we got that done. Now, let me go ahead and go back over to the Discourse guide and install Facebook. Okay. We're going to go to beginner guide. Okay, now we're going to clone their repository. We're going to clone it to their desired folder or var discourse. I think they should have did var www discourse, but so we're going to go ahead and do the default one now. You can do whatever you want. Just keep in mind that if you do change the default folder structure or file system location of Discourse right here, you're going to have to change it in the setup templates, because if you don't, it's not going to. So paste that here, enter, of course, and var Discourse ls Discourse doctor. I guess that's bad things are happening, and you're hoping that works, but it's probably not going to work. That's probably what that's for. Discourse setup. We're not going to be using the Discourse setup. For the simple fact is, we're going to be doing this behind a Nginx proxy, which is if you are hosting a lot of websites on your server and installing Discourse, you can't be going through the same ports. So we're going to have to proxy it. Or anyway, so we don't want to do the Nginx proxy, so we can't use that setup. So now that we did that, we're going to go ahead and do a cp-a. You're going to start typing samples and tab it out, and then keep tabbing, and you're going to see these YML files. The standalone one, that is actually the file that the Discord app rebuilder uses, or the app builder uses. It uses the data that's in that to create your container. So you're going to want to go ahead and copy that. Now, that's what the Discourse setup, I think that's what the Discourse setup does, is it takes that and it moves it into the containers folder, and it renames it as app.yaml. So this is the same thing that they're saying to do in the source-based guide. And whenever you're doing stuff like this, it's always good to follow source-based material. That way you know you're doing it the professional way. But it is good to watch other people's tutorials too, because a lot of times the source-based material, they might be coming at such a different or upper echelon angle that you don't even know what the hell's going on or what they're talking about. It happens to me all the time. Whenever you get into really deep stuff like coding or anything else, it happens. So I'm going to move this over to there. Okay. That's in there. So now we're going to go nano, painters, app. Now this is where we got to edit this. So if we go back to this part of the guide, it's going to tell you it's time to run this. We're not doing it. So instead, what you're going to do, so we're going to go to source-based material, but we're going to say Discourse multi-site installation guide. We're going to type that in, and you're going to see multi-site configurations to say meta.discourse. So you still know you're on the creator's documentation, so we're going to go there and click that. And then, am I in the right spot? I'm not in the right spot. I'm not in the right spot. Yep, I'm not in the right spot. So there's, I think it's Discourse, Nginx, reverse proxy. This one? Okay, it's this one. Okay, so what you're gonna do now is installing Nginx outside the container. First, make sure the container's not running, blah, blah, blah. So if you already have Docker installed, or I guess they're coming from a way, hey, they might already think you have this container running. We're not even going to worry about it. So, and then they're going to tell you, make sure these packages are installed. We already got these, so we're not going to have to worry about that either. So what we're worried about is this right here. This nice, tasty code box. So we're going to right-click it, copy it, go back here, and that is for the template. So whenever you're installing Discourse, your community-based form software, the installation is looking at these files, and it's looking for this certain specifications in these files to apply to the installation according to your server, something like that. So I'm in Nano, so I'm gonna go ahead and do Control-K and just delete everything under templates, but not the contents below it. Shift Insert. Okay, so now we have, what do I do? Okay, so now we have everything there that's supposed to be there. I was kind of confused by this when I first saw it. I was like, are they saying to remove this if it's being handled by Nginx? No, you don't touch these. So because you're running Nginx, you're going to be taking care of the SSL on that side. You're not going to be using the SSL that's built into the container. At least I think that's how it's. So another good thing is we're going to be using a socket. And I know you Linux guys already know sockets are better than ports, even though they're kind of like the same thing, but they're not. So we're not going to use these ports. We're Linux and Unix guys, and you know, we're too good for ports. So we're not going to use the ports. So we're going to make sure those are taken out of the picture. Oh, okay, and then on to the domain. So you're gonna need a domain unless you want to just install this on your plan, which I don't think you are. I think you're gonna want your community going to your forums, so you can push what you're pushing, or so you can have a community that can converse with you, or maybe just trying to help some people out for whatever your reason is for wanting to run Discourse. I guess it's gonna be I guess one of those or whatever. So you're gonna probably want it on the internet. If you don't want it, then I'd kind of be interested to know why. So we're gonna make sure we have a domain set up. So I'm gonna go to cloud. Yeah. I'm going to log in. Okay. I'm just recently starting to move stuff over to Cloudflare. Their DNS latency is insane. It's like faster than Google in most cases. So if y'all want to reduce your ping from your DNS going to your site, or from the client to the DNS to the site, whatever. If you want to increase your domain lookup speed, definitely going to go with Cloudflare. Can't beat it. Like, they even have like APIs for like certain actions that are done based upon your DNS, and then you can have other action. It's pretty insane. So Cloudflare is the same. Okay, so click that. Go over to DNS. So you're gonna want to make sure you make a record, like, because if you're making a form, you probably already have a site, and you're making the form for that site. So as you can see, I have a form. Mine's form.fixapc.net. So we are going to be using testing. This one right here. So I'm going to be using this. So if you want to make a subdomain on your domain, just add new C record, And so if you want it to be form.yourdomain.com or .net or whatever, you just type in whatever you want your subdomain to be, which would be your CNAME, and that would be in front of your domain name. So you make that. Then after you make that, you're going to want to use an SMTP provider. You're going to be on using your own SMTP server. You can use Google. I think their OAuth is a little bit pain. I don't like the way Google's API is nice, but it's not nice at the same time. I don't know if y'all know what I'm saying. But it's like, it's confusing, but it's not confusing. But they got like so much jumbled. Like, I think they could like streamline it and make it more like look at Cloudflare. Like I went to this thing for the first time. And when I was on here my first time, I didn't even have to hardly look through anything. Their like layout is so simple. It's all common sense based. It's like, oh, DNS is right here. Let me just click that. You know, like it was really nice. Like it's all common sense, driven. It's not like, what am I looking at? Where do I go? And you have to spend an hour like searching through the GUI just to find what you want to look. No, it's all right. It's all really simple. It's nice. I like it. Cloudflare is awesome. So, for email, you see I'm using both Mailgun and I'm using Google. So I'm going to go ahead and go over to Mailgun, log in, and then I'm going to go ahead and go to sending. Mailgun's really good too. They have like a really elitist debugging and developer panel for like going through MX records, checking out your email sending and not sent. It's really nice, and they have nice graphs. So Mailgun's nice, and they're pretty much free unless you start sending like thousands of emails. Then you have to pay like a few cents or a few bucks a month. It's good. So I'm gonna go domain settings. I'm gonna select the domain I want to use. Go over to SMTP credentials. So no reply. What do I want to use? I'm going to use no reply test. So I'm going to reset this password real quick. Go ahead and copy that. Let's make sure it's copied right, because sometimes I think it doesn't copy right. You go to your clipboard. And I'm going to go back over here to the terminal. And right where it says password, delete password, right click, I'm going to paste it. And for the username, it's going to be no reply test. And smtp.mailgun.org. Developer's email. From what I remember, you have to have this one as one you can access, because I think what they're like, well, I know what they do. Whenever you get to the end of the setup, send you a verification email. So you're gonna need to be able to check your email unless you disable that part. You can disable it. So please don't send me spam. I would never put this in text format on the internet, but it's not like I have a million viewers or anything on YouTube anyway, so. Discourse hosting. So this is going to be testing.net. So if you want to do Mailgun, just follow along. Your default locales, might as well set those. You don't have to, but might as well. UTF-8. UTF-8, you always want to use UTF-8 just because it's used so universally. Rather than defaults for more stuff. Discourse SMTP port. I want to uncomment that. It's going to be 587 for Mailgun. I think we got all this right. Keyword think. Yeah, no, that should up here. Okay. Let me do a little bit explaining here real quick, just so you know what's going on. These are the templates. Your Redis template, this is for your Redis caching. Now, if you stick with defaults, the defaults do work, and they will work, and they'll work. So you can use the defaults. The defaults work, and they work good. Which is about the only good thing about Docker is everything's already prepackaged, set up for you. Otherwise, you'd be setting up Redis, you'd be setting up Postgres, well, not Postgres, you'd be setting up a database. You can actually get this to as a direct install for Nginx. I haven't seen any packages online or anyone put into a Git repo yet. It's probably out there somewhere though. But you can do it. You'd have to, have to install a database, like extract the data out of the database, figure out their folder structure, put stuff accordingly back in the www folder, figure out what you need, the options for Nginx. But you could get this out of Docker into Nginx or Apache and like Maria DB or MySQL, and you could do a complete custom install. Just if you're wanting to run Docker, and I can understand why some people don't want to run Docker. One is if you like running a super low latency gutted kernel, you're not going to want all the extra options and the file system overlays and the C groups and all the other crap that Docker makes you use through your kernel. I don't like C groups either. I mean, it's good for certain situations, but it's like the I don't know. Anyway, I'm doing like a high performance kernel-based virtualization guide later. If y'all are interested in virtualization, like super fast virtualization, like as fast as you can go, then I'd recommend you watch it whenever I put the video out. So this is this is good. The defaults are good here. Like I said, if you use a different directory than default and you're putting somewhere else in www, make sure you do a grep r and search through all the files and find those default directories and change them to the directory you want it to go to, or that you put, or that you clone the repository to from GitHub for Discourse. So just keep that in mind. So everything looks good here. Go ahead and build this app. Launcher, app, rebuild. So as soon as you execute this command, see, we're not doing the Discourse setup, we're doing the app rebuild. So just going to rebuild the app based upon that app.yml file and those templates, etc., etc. So we're just going to start this building process. Now, this is going to take a while, depending on our computer. Now, it's probably not, it takes me about like 15 minutes for 36 cores, and that's 2 E5 2696 V3s. So it's 2 18 cores, 36 cores. And they're all locked at a flat 2.8 gigahertz turbo boost. So it's going to download and it's going to do the setup. This is going to take a while. So what's really good to do right now is if you've been following the way I've been doing it, it would be really good to go ahead and get the Nginx part, the proxy, out of the way. So in order to do that, we are going to go ahead and go over to here. And they're pretty much saying, like, if you look, you're going to see we're pretty much been following this almost to the T, except we did this first before we got here, which doesn't matter. So what we're going to go ahead and do is take this nice pretty tasty box. They got a little copy button. All right, choose that. Yes. So I'm gonna go ahead and click that little copy button. Okay, so now what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna go ahead and navigate over to the default Nginx configuration or Nginx, whatever you want to call it, the default configuration file. So to go ahead and do that, I'm gonna go ahead and do nano etc nginx confd and default.conf. And you're going to see this right here. They commented out the listen directives. I wouldn't recommend doing that. So we're not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and put testing.pixapc.net because that's the domain name. And I'm going to go ahead and okay. So then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and right below this, after you put your correct server name in, you're going to go ahead and paste that box that you copied from the guide or source-based material. And so what it's going to do is it's going to listen on port 80, and it's going to proxy pass here. One other thing too, we're going to go ahead and listen on 443. And we have to close it off again because we only have one bracket down there. So the location, there's a location bracket, and then the very first bracket after that, that's closing off location. And then the server bracket, the very last bracket is closing off the server, but the location is included in that last bracket. That's my bird again. So let's go ahead and exit out of there. Now we're going to go ahead and run Certbot. So Certbot, Cert only. Now the first time that you run this, it's probably going to ask you for it is going to ask you for a terms agreement. I already did it once, so it's not asking me that right now. So I'm going to do one because we want to use the Nginx web server plugin. You're going to want to make sure you have the Python Nginx server plugin. And the reason for that is it lets you authenticate for your certs without having to restart your server. Now it's asking for the domain names. So this is just we're doing this for a subdomain on my site, the testing.pixapc.net. So I'm only going to have to type in testing.pixapc.net. You want to include your main domain name and all the other subdomains on the certificate. Now, I'm not, because I'm proxying to my server. I don't want it to have any problems redirecting any of my legit traffic over to this virtual machine. So I'm just keeping it that one subdomain. Okay, and it said successfully generated that certificate. So what y'all are going to do now is you're going to copy these two lines. And the reason I say this is because it depends. Sometimes it doesn't automatically add it. So yeah, it didn't automatically add it. So shift insert paste those two, and then one space back SSL. It's SSL and then underscore certificate, and then you're gonna go down to the next line. Space back SSL certificate underscore key, like that. So then you're gonna want to go ahead and add the SSL to that listen directory. Now you should look like this after you've put all the information in right. So we need to go ahead and close this off too. Close it. Now go ahead and restart Nginx. And then let's go ahead and see if she's running. And there you go. She's up. So y'all saw the process. It's not that hard. I mean, it's not that hard. You might have like a little trial and error on the way, because everyone's system's different. Another thing to keep in mind is if you look at your Nginx config, I'm working off of all bone stock Debian installations, so everything that I did in this tutorial is pretty much based on like bone stock Debian install with Sid.